What's going on YouTube? This is Jabber Tech, and this beautiful phone in my hands is the LG G8 ThinQ. This is going to be my full review. I've been using this phone since it came out, and I've got a lot to say about this, especially since I've pretty much had every LG phone since the G2, and I'm really happy that LG is still making phones, but then again, I don't know if they've given up due to the intense competition. But they kind of missed some things out and they kind of took a couple steps backwards, which I think they shouldn't have done. But anyway, guys, let's go ahead and check out the LG G8 ThinQ. This is the LG G8 and it's a really beautiful, nice color shifting type of device. I can't get enough of this color shift. Sometimes it's really blue, kind of like there. And then sometimes it turns black. You really just don't know. And I really appreciate a nice design choice like that. But the screen itself is absolutely beautiful as well. You have a really nice 6.1 inch panel, 1440 panel here, and it gets really bright enough in sunlight and dim enough in darker situations. So it's a really good overall screen. You have the Snapdragon 855 built in with 6 gigabytes of RAM. You also have 128 of built-in storage, but thankfully, micro SD card slot is still here, so you can expand this for just pennies on the dollar. You also have IP68 rating here, which is absolutely awesome. So you have no worries about using this in the rain. If it takes a little drop in some water, no problems with this at all. Gorilla Glass 6 is on both sides, front and back, so it's a really nicely protected phone because you also have the military spec for drop protection. That's right, this phone is spec'd for that, but don't go dropping it and expecting it not to crack. It is all glass. On the back is where things get a little bit interesting. LG took kind of a one step forward, two step back type of approach. And what I mean about that is it reminds me of the G6 days when here in the US we got a beautiful phone, but they left out the quad DAC, stating that it was either quad DAC or wireless charging. So they decided most consumers in the US wanted that wireless charging and not the quad DAC. Well, they were really mistaken. We wanted both, and the same goes here. Even though we have a standard and a wide, they left out the telephoto lens, which is what's shipping on international models. LG, why do you do that to us? Just make one phone. It'll make things a lot simpler. We want all three cameras. That's what's coming out in 2019 is the 3-camera array. And you leaving that out is kind of making me shake my head. A lot of people are shaking their heads about this. Why would you leave that out? We do have a notch here, and I know a lot of manufacturers as well are going completely notchless, and they're doing the pill drop. They're doing no drop. They're doing just everything to make this a full screen panel. LG decided to leave that notch, but what makes the notch special on this phone is you have 3D unlock, which is super secure, guys. You're not going to find a more secure face unlock on an Android phone right now. And this is going to be enabled in Android Q so that you can use it for mobile banking for more secure situations because of that 3D unlock. But for those of you that really can't stand that notch, it's very easy to kind of change it. And LG calls it the new second screen. I don't know why they call it a new second screen, but you can customize it if you want. So you can sort of end your screen at the top there, and you can add some color to it. You can add some different gradients and whatnot, or you can round it off. But really, guys, you have the notch. You bought this phone. Just embrace it, or you look for a different phone if you really can't stand that notch. But I really don't notice it. It's really not a super big deal. The only thing I don't like about the notch is not the notch itself. They did something different. On the V40, they cut off your video just before you got to the notch. But on this one, for some reason, they actually keep your video going past the notch. I'm going to show you what it looks like on the LG V40. So I'm really hoping that in some software iteration, they give us the option or they revert back. Because this is the original, what it'll look like. You can see if you play it in its original form. It's going to cut it off right before the notch. But of course, if you zoom into it, it kind of gets in the way of your video. So I really don't like that. So let me go ahead, guys. I'm going to give you my full review. I'm going to mix in the things that I like, the things that I don't like, because some of those things go hand in hand and make me shake my head a little bit. So the battery in here is a 35 milliamp hour battery, which means that at 6.1 inches, it should be able to last all day. But the problem that I have with this phone, guys, is that I can't get it to last all day unless I leave it on 1080p. Now, out of the box, LG is taking a footnote from a lot of other manufacturers, and they ship it at 1080, which is absolutely fine. This is a beautiful panel in 1080 or 1440, But the problem is, if I want to leave it on 1440 for my usage, I'm not really getting a full day. Taking this off the charger at 7 a.m., I'm really only making it until about 6 p.m. that day. So I'm getting about 12 hours of usage, which you say might be good, but not really. When at 1080, this thing will last me to the end of the night, and I think that's a little bit of a shame. Maybe they can do a little bit more battery optimization to make this last a little bit longer at 1440. But for my preferences, I'd rather have that extra battery life, so I leave it at 1080, and for my eyes, I really don't notice any difference. But it really depends. You're getting a phone with the latest and greatest specs. You kind of want to use it. But the 4K panel is absolutely really gorgeous. You're getting a nice crisp panel. Really nice colors, nice contrast, just a really overall enjoyable screen. No matter what you're watching, what you're doing, the screen is absolutely beautiful. Take a look at that. Really a nice panel, guys, so I have no issues with this panel. I just wish that at 1440 it would last a little bit longer. LG's done something really cool, guys. The whole front screen is the actual speaker. So this is their crystal sound technology, and this is in some of their other products, mainly TVs, and they decided to bring it over to the phone, and I think it's a really nice idea. Now, most of the sound comes from right about this portion of the screen, so you kind of have to adjust if you're in a really noisy environment. I find myself placing my ear a little bit lower down on the phone. But when you do pick up this phone, when you get a phone call and you place it where you normally would, right about here, there's no issues with sound quality, even in a loud Times Square-ish environment. I've never had a problem listening to people. But the one thing that I have had a problem with, believe it or not, is speakerphone. For some reason, now I'm a type of person that when I am on a phone call, I tend to put on speakerphone right away. But for some reason with this phone, I don't know what it is, but the people on the other end always say they can't hear me when I'm on speakerphone. Now, I've tried this in different cases, so it's not the case, and I've tried it off of a case, and they still say they can't hear me, so I don't know exactly what's going on. There is a little bit of an issue with speakerphone, at least with mine. For those of you that have this phone, let me know down in the comments down below if you have an issue with speakerphone calls. But for me, I don't know what it is. It's just not working really well. But back to the crystal sound, guys. This is an awesome experience. It kind of gives you that fake front-facing speaker, dual speaker array type of feel to it. You can actually change the sound frequencies, and if you turn it on, you can make it a wide, a front, or side to side, and it just sort of gives you that fake 3D surround feel, which actually boosts the sound a little bit and sounds really cool. And then what LG's doing that's really cool, they're also doing a boombox type of setup here, so the whole back of the phone acts as a resonance chamber and actually boosts the sound when you place it on a flat surface. And let me tell you, this is an awesome feature, guys. This is something that makes me use a Bluetooth speaker less and less because it does get loud enough if you are listening to your favorite podcast. So this is a little sample, guys. This is at the loudest setting. I think they did a nice job, and it just makes the screen look overall a little bit cleaner without having that earpiece up there. Now, the one thing that I have to mention about the crystal sound and the boombox, guys, is that it takes a little bit of a couple days of use to actually get used to this, because the whole screen is going to vibrate, the back of the phone is going to vibrate and rattle. So you kind of think that it's a cheap phone because we all associate vibration with something that's broken, something that's not securely fit together, but that's not the case with this phone. It is fit together quite nicely with the glass-on-glass sandwich design, but it does vibrate in your hand, and it does rattle a bit. Well, it makes you think that it's rattling. Of course it's not. It's just the vibrations which actually boost that sound. So it takes a little bit of a little while, a couple days to actually get used to it, but when you do, it's super cool. I really like this, guys, and a lot of people kind of ask me where's the speaker on this phone. They really don't know what's going on, especially those iPhone users. They just don't know what's happening with innovation. And keeping with the speaker theme, guys, we do have a headphone jack with that quad DAC, and if you plug in some cool headphones, some really decent headphones, you're going to get a nice sound with this. So the headphone jack, while I might not use it on a daily basis, I don't think it should go away. So I'm really happy that LG left it here. But another thing that I like about this is no matter how you charge this, you're going to get a good charge Whether you're using wireless charging, which a lot of people still think is a gimmick, but believe me, when you go to someone's house and you don't have a charger with you and they have a wireless charger, that's like an aha moment. You're really excited. And that's the world that we should get into. We should get into the world where it's like one cable to charge everything, USB-C of all things, or wireless charging. So at least you know you can run into a Starbucks or a McDonald's or somewhere and you can get a quick top up if you need to. But if not, USB-C power delivery is here, as well as Qualcomm's quick charge capabilities. So no matter what cable, no matter what adapter you have, you're going to get a really nice charge. So you're not going to scramble. You're not going to be left without a charge. One more thing that I want to mention about this phone, guys, is the vibration motor is absolutely great. It's one of the best that I've had on an Android phone. It's really, really accurate. It gives you a nice, strong vibration. The haptic engine is absolutely great on this phone, and it is one of the best on Android. It's not as good as the iPhone, but it's definitely up there. Another thing that's really cool about this, guys, and I've been complaining about this on other Android phones, why do we have to go through an extra step to unlock it? Once you've verified what's going on, all you have to do is pick up the phone, and it's going to recognize that you picked it up, and then the 3D face unlock is going to work right away. And you saw how quick it was, even from behind the camera. Let me do that again. Just press the power button if it's in your hand, look at the phone, and it unlocks. So really, really cool. I'm definitely digging this face unlock. It works 99% of the time. And of course, the fingerprint scanner, being an optical scanner, works not super fast. Let me show you that again. Takes a little bit of a second, so it's not the fastest on the planet, but whatever, it works. No issues with that, getting this phone unlocked. So I really like the facial unlock. I like the fact that if you just lift up the phone, it says, hey, you want to unlock your phone, don't you, and use it, and then the face unlock kicks in. That brings me to something I don't like about the software. That's the whole hand IG, the whole Jedi mind tricks. I haven't tried that, guys. I just think that's a gimmick. Now, will it work in the future if LG actually put some time and effort into perfecting it? Right now, it's just really slow and really awkward and really gimmicky. So I'm not using it. I tried to set it up the first day. I thought it was okay. And then after that, I figured I kind of look silly trying to do all this stuff and whatever. It just took too long and too much effort. So I disabled it right away, guys, and I'm pretty sure you will. But Hand ID, if they make it as quick as the fingerprint scanner or the face unlock, where you can just go like that and unlock it, it has a place in the future, but it does have to get improved. For those of you that think this might be a little bit large, there is a mini view. All you have to do is swipe on the taskbar, and then that gives you full access to your phone, and then just click out of it just like so. Swipe either left or to the right to bring it to the respective side. So for those of you that are walking in the street, or for those of you that have smaller hands and just can't reach the top, this is a really cool way to do that. There's also gestures built into this. I just leave the buttons, guys. I'm just old school, but you can auto hide them like that, so you get access to the full screen glory, and then just kind of swipe anywhere and they will appear. So I think that's pretty cool. But if you like gestures, the gestures are in here. No issues with that at all. Another thing that I like about this phone, guys, is the fact that with Android Pie, a lot of people aren't talking about it, you have private DNS. So if you want to block ads, you can block ads on this phone natively in any application just by accessing private DNS like so. And LG, they are really giving us a lot, guys. Even though I don't like their UI, this is something I think they really should improve upon. But they give us a nice high contrast theme, and I'll show you what the high contrast theme looks like. It's a nice dark mode kind of theme, and it turns everything dark. So for those of you that like the high contrast, this is what it looks like. Everything is blacked out, just like so, but I think they really need to update their UI a little bit. That's why I put a Nova skin, a Nova launcher on right away. I'm just not a fan of their UI personally, but what I am a fan of is they give us a really easy way to screen share, and it's built in to the operating system into LG right there, screen sharing. So all you have to do is turn this on, and it's going to search for compatible devices. And I think that's just a really great way to kind of connect and show off what you need to show off without downloading any extra files, any extra applications. Let me just disconnect from here, and it'll show you everything that's available if you wanted to screen share. So if you are at someone's house and you want to just watch a movie, or you want to show them something on your phone, you can send it to the TV without any issues whatsoever. Another thing that I really like about this, and finally LG's included it, is the dual app system. So you can have 2 WhatsApps running or 2 Facebook Messengers for different accounts. And for somebody who has different accounts, different phone numbers, I like to have my WhatsApps on one phone so I don't miss any incoming messages or whatever the case may be. So finally, LG's caught up with Samsung and some other manufacturers and given us a dual setup. And then also, LG's one of the first to introduce this knock-on feature, and that's super awesome, guys. Knock-on is great. It just means if your phone is on the table, you can just knock on it, look at that 3D unlock, and it's gonna unlock. So LG really does a great job in terms of software, in terms of innovation, and they really need to get back into it. I'm rooting for you, LG. I like you as a company. You just gotta work on a few things. I really don't understand why LG left out some key features from Android Pie on this. It just is just a little bit weird that they would leave out digital well-being when every other manufacturer is really pushing that digital well-being to kind of let you know of what you're actually using your phone with and kind of help people get away from using their phone 24 hours a day. They kind of left that out. Another thing they left out is the really cool volume sliders and power buttons. So if you see some other videos, I don't have a stock Android device here, but when you press the volume or when you press the power, you get the nice pop-up right on the side. You don't really block out the entire screen. It's just a nice little window that shows up right by the power button, and that just makes it super easy to turn on, turn off, or restart your device. So LG, they really just gave us Android Pie, but not really. Next thing I want to talk about is the camera. I'm going to show you some samples. The camera on this phone is decent. It's a good shooter. It's not the best shooter in 2019. I would say LG is still stuck in about 2017, maybe early 2018. They really haven't stepped up their game like Samsung has. And of course, with the pixels, that's just bringing us to a new level. So in terms of photo quality, you can get some nice photos. You can get some really good shots on this with the wide angle, but you do have to play around. It's not the one-shot killer where you just snap and you're pretty much guaranteed you're going to get an awesome shot. Sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes you have to look at it and play around with it. But that's just my feeling. I think it's still a great camera. I still get a lot of great shots from it, but it's not the absolute best. But at the price point that they're charging this phone, about the $620, $700, it's actually in line, on par with that pricing. So I really don't have any issues with the camera. Portrait is still kind of so-so, guys. It's really not the best in terms of portrait mode, and that's especially thanks to LG getting rid of that telephoto lens. Night view, I really don't see that big of a deal. It's okay. It does brighten it up a little bit, but not the overall best. So now front recording's only at 1080, but it's actually one of the better ones LG's ever put on one of their phones. So this is 4K recording at 60 frames. This has been a little bit of a long review, but it is worth it because this phone, I'm still recommending that you guys buy it. I think it's a great phone, especially for those of you, and I hate to say this when it comes to LG because they're not a budget manufacturer, but for those of you on a budget, this is a really great phone. So although LG is not a budget manufacturer, this phone right now, how they have it priced, is in that budget type of market. And I hate to say that about a $700 phone, $800 phone, but that's the world we live in. I really appreciate you guys watching. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time.